And I was talking about this earlier. It's like we're in an industry that one truly helps the client and truly helps me and the agents that are involved. So it helped open my eyes that we're not like just making a random sale. I'm not gonna sell you on this energy drink, right? It's like you absolutely need this, and I'm so passionate about educating the rest of the world. It really challenged me to look at this from a non-sales perspective and more of an educational standpoint.
All right, welcome to True Talk. Got a special guest today, Desiree Blas.
Blas.
Blas, I said it right.
Yes.
Like blossom.
Like blossom.
All right.
Blas boss, whatever you want to say, yeah.
Blas, all right, I like that. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's super surreal being on this podcast. I when I started as a brand new agent, it was podcasts like these that just kept me going.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you came from a sales background, right? You in real estate.
Real estate, yep.
How'd you end up getting into real estate?
I just knew I didn't want a boss or a traditional career, just because I wanted the freedom of like making my schedule.
Yeah.
But little did I know, and someone actually joked around with me. They were like, "Man, you left your 9 to 5 to work 24/7," and I'm like, "Hell yeah! If it's my business, I'll work 24/7. But I don't want to work for somebody else's company or corporation or whatever it is." So I just knew for whatever reason I had like a calling to lead my own company.
Got it.
Yeah.
What were you doing? What was your 9 to 5 at that point?
I got accepted into nursing school. So prior to that, I worked at a hospital.
Okay.
I knew I wanted to help people, and that was like the traditional route, like get into school, and it was the fad of like be a nurse, and so I was like, cool, I think I could do that, and so went to community college for a little bit, didn't know what I was doing. Then I got into nursing, got accepted into a nursing program, and when I looked, and I don't come from money. Student loan debt, it would have been like over 6 figures to just finish schooling for nursing.
Okay.
So I had like this moment where I was like, do I want to do that and be like tied in with all that debt, or do I want to figure it out? And so thank goodness I was at a crossroads, and I saw something about real estate, and I was like, I think I could do that. And I just kind of went for it, and then found Family First Life.
Got it. So you never actually went to nursing school?
No.
Got accepted.
I had the acceptance letter, and my family were like, "Oh, do it."
Yeah, I was gonna ask, were they pushing you in that?
Kind of. Yeah. They just knew I would do good at anything. Very supportive parents. But they didn't even go to college, so they didn't really believe in college. They just knew that.
So were you the first one in your family went to college?
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, kind of dropped out, but.
Okay. Oh, so you never finished?
No. Yeah.
So seeing this potential student loan debt, right?
Yes.
Kind of made you think I should go somewhere else.
Exactly.
And how'd you land on real estate? Like, what'd you know about real estate prior to?
I think I saw something online or a podcast, and I was like, I don't know anything about real estate. I kind of want to educate myself, and then and that was it. And then I walked into a firm. They were like, "Hey, this is how you get licensed." And I was like, okay, cool. It sounds better than what I was going to do.
Yeah.
And I was just very apt to like wanting to grow and learn. And then I got into real estate, which was its own story. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was about what year?
2019, end of 2019.
Okay. So then you did that for about 3 years before you joined us,
Yes.
right? What were those 3 years like? Well, in the beginning, what was the beginning like?
Yes. So obviously in commission-based sales, you need some form of clientele. So when you're in real estate, I had to organically build my pipeline. We did not have leads.
Yeah.
And so it took me 7 months to sell my first home. 7 months I was cold door knocking random neighborhoods. I was cold calling people.
So you left you left this
Yes.
completely, the hospital job. You get into real estate. You pay for your own license.
Yes.
And 7 months go by and you don't sell a house?
No. And I was grinding in those 7 months.
What were you doing in those 7 months?
Door knocking random neighborhoods, doing open houses, trying to gain clientele.
Yeah.
I was cold calling people who just like, they took their home off the market, and I would get yelled at, I would get screamed at.
Yeah.
Putting up flyers in coffee shops. I was like, hey, I'm going to have an open house. And I was just like going to every small business, and I was like just working really, really, really hard. And I was like, I don't think this is it. Like, I don't know what to expect. I've never, I wasn't really prompted. We didn't have that kind of training like what we do here with Family First Life. It was just kind of like I had a managing broker, and they're like, this is what we do. And I was like,
anyone around you successful?
In real estate?
Yeah.
I had a couple people, and I was just following what they did. Success leaves clues. So I was just like, I guess I just got to keep going. It's part of the statistic to just keep going, because I think like 85% of first year agents quit. I think that's what it is here. I think in any commission-based realm, it's like that.
And this was your first commission-based job,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was new to you. How did you survive for 7 months with no? Because you say you didn't come from money, right?
Yeah, I didn't. I saved up pretty well, and I was still staying at my parents' house. Okay. So that was one of my biggest driving factors. I was like, I got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them, but I was just like, I'm an adult. I got to figure it out, and I couldn't make sustainable income. But then fast forward, sold a home, then referrals came about, and I was like selling some homes. Like I was doing decent.
Got it.
I probably sold 5 homes in 1 month, and then.
What'd you make that month? Do you remember?
I want to say it could have been close to 40 grand,
okay,
maybe. And I was like, heck yeah, I made it. Yeah. And then, but the thing is with real estate, it's like up and down, right? And I wouldn't have any homes to sell. And that's how I found Family First Life. I was like between a rock and a hard place. I was like, oh, I saved all this money, but I was like, I don't even think this could even get me out of there, because if it's going to be like this next year, it's not really going to work out.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's funny because when people hear, 40 grand in a month, they think 40 grand every month.
Yeah.
Which is not what happened.
Nope. Yeah.
And what were some of your worst months?
$0.
Yeah.
Negative. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say you made your first year in real estate?
Maybe 55 grand.
55 grand.
Maybe. Yeah.
And what were you making as a nurse or at the hospital?
Oh, a fraction of that. I don't even know.
So it was more money than what you were making.
It was, yeah.
But I guess what drove you to look into insurance?
I was just on social media. I was on social media. I didn't have any clients. Like, I didn't have any clients in my pipeline as far as like selling homes or helping buyers. And I just saw something about Family First Life. It was like honestly a repost. And I was just like, okay, this looks cool.
Yeah.
And then so I slid up and I said, hey, what's this? And the person described it to me. And I was just like, sounds easier than real estate I'm in. And when I first got on, I didn't even know I had to buy leads. I didn't know what chargebacks were. I just knew, I didn't know anything about the insurance industry, but I believed in myself. And I was like, cool. It's easier than what I was doing. I could figure it out, and I think this is the path.
So you found us. You saw a repost. You contacted some individual.
Yep.
You had some questions. What was it about their answers that got you to join us? What like is this for people that are trying to recruit? Everyone thinks like they have to have some special recipe. I gotta hook them. I gotta sell them on it.
Yeah.
You don't. You just gotta find the right person. You were the right person.
Yeah, the timing too. Because if had I had sold a home, I probably wouldn't have felt the same way.
Right. You had that 40,000 a month. You wouldn't have been looking on social media.
Exactly. And I think the number one thing is like you have to be consistent in posting because people are watching. I promise you, people are watching. That's why I feel very drawn to social media because that's how I was found, right? And so if you're consistently posting, it's really the timing with the person. So I don't think there was like any hook because I think I would have jumped in anyways.
Got it.
Yeah, I would have found another industry.
But you remember that conversation though?
Yeah.
Did you lead with questions?
No. I guess I can't really remember. I just was like, cool, you guys have leads. I was like, that sounds better than me trying to convince somebody to sell their home. I was like, it sounds easier.
Leads.
Yes, we talked about leads. We talked about like how fast you could get paid. And I think that circles back to like the transaction period. Like in real estate, you help a client find a home, you're under contract, it's 30 to 45 days. Then you get paid. Here it's like I could get somebody into a policy, they get approved, I get paid in 24, 48 hours. So I was like, okay, cool. And I could knock as many as those out as I want. Awesome. And that's why I love commission-based sales because there's no cap to your income, right? Commission-based sales is like the highest paid occupation in America, but what really matters is what vehicle you're in. And being in the life insurance industry where it's recession-proof, you're unstoppable here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because you lived through 2020 in real estate.
Yes.
What was that like?
That was crazy. I was working with a lot of investors, so like helping people like, lowball some offers, cash offers and stuff. So it kept me busy. And that's probably what kept me afloat. And then boom, 2021, end of 2021 hit, and I was like, okay, I'm not making any money. And then 2022 is like my first full year here.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the process of being paid in real estate. Like how many, I'm sure you've had deals that you didn't get paid on, right? That are on contract, you're banking on, whatever. I'm going to make X if this goes through, and then it doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah. And that honestly helped me, I guess, transition here. But going back to that, you have a lot of hands in the pot, too. So when you're in a real estate transaction, you got the lender, you got the other agent, you got the other party, you have the escrow team. And here it's like, it's just so simple. It's you and the client. The insurance company, everything's black and white. Like you can't screw it up unless you screw up. And so I loved that factor and how fast we could get paid. But yes, I've been in a number of deals in real estate that it's close to closing and it slips through the cracks and it's either, another person's fault.
And there's nothing you can do about that.
Nope. Yeah.
And it's like with us or insurance in general, it's all on you.
Yeah.
We have tons of products, so you can't say I can't find a product for this. I mean, very, very rare. Like if they're living in a nursing home, well, you shouldn't go meet with them in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
But for the most part, even if you're hooked up to oxygen tanks, there's policies for you.
Yeah.
So it's on you. But it's not like that in real estate.
No. And everybody needs a life insurance policy, guys. Like, it's so crazy to me. I didn't learn about the life insurance industry until I got in. I've been to a number of funerals, but I had no clue how much a cremation or a burial costs until I got into this industry in my mid-20s. And I was like, how the heck did I not know?
So you never had life insurance?
No.
Family didn't. No one talked about it. No.
I didn't even have, like, to be honest, when I first started, I didn't have that much money to invest in leads. Yeah. And so I made a way, and it forced me to educate my family. It forced me to sit with my parents. And I helped my mom, my grandma, my dad get a policy, my cousins, my uncles, my aunts. And I was so grateful that I didn't have money for leads right then and there because it forced me to have that conversation. Now they're protected. Then I got paid, and then I dumped it back into my business.
So you did all that before you really started buying leads?
Correct.
How many warm market policies do you think
you
wrote?
Man, maybe 7 to 10.
Okay.
Maybe 7 to 10. Yeah. And the thing is, like, they weren't really, like, my dad is, like, super stubborn. He was like, I don't need a policy. I got my work policy. And I was like, for the love of God, like, if you love us and you want us to keep this house, you need to get a policy. Yeah. My grandma was in her 70s, didn't have a policy. And I was like, how the hell, like, God, like, people are just so undereducated about it. And I was one of those people. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people, educating clients, like, have them make an informed decision. Right. But everybody needs a policy.
Absolutely. And everyone doesn't need to be a homeowner.
Yeah, exactly.
You can rent, you live with someone. There's plenty of options. Yeah. You don't have to buy a house.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
What was that transition like? Because it's a different sale. Like real estate, like you said, you're almost like customer service, right? You're waiting on these people hands and knees sometimes. Like, it's different here.
Right. Or I would sell, like, I remember I would meet with somebody for coffee. Like, let's say you're my buyer. I'm like, hey, go over goals. I might show you 10 to 30 homes. And then you could say, actually, I'm good. I'm going to go look in a different, like, area. I'm like, or a different state, or I'm going to wait till next year. And I'm like, I just did all that legwork for nothing.
What was some of the worst, like, any deals, like, how many houses did you show someone they didn't buy?
I want to say it was maybe 20.
Wow.
Yeah, 20. And the guy was like, yeah, actually, I'm just going to wait till next year. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the time? Like, how long does it take? Is that weeks, months?
Oh, during that specific process?
Houses.
It was probably, if we were doing weekends, it probably was a couple months. Yeah. I would try to fit as many in, like, one day as possible. Like, the most showings I did in a weekend was like 30, and I was just running around, like, you know, showing, hoping they would like it. But I think that's why coming here, I love leads. Oh my God, I love leads, just because if you don't want it, cool, I'm just going to go to the next person.
Flip the page.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, it's such a, I don't even think life insurance is sales because it's like a no-brainer sale. Right. Like, if you love your family, you'll get a policy. And you're not, like, you could have multiple policies. Like, if, cool, you have a term policy, let's get you a permanent one. You have a permanent policy, let's get you another permanent policy. Like, I have 3 policies on myself, and there's kind of no limit for that. Yeah. So I love it. And, like, you educate the client, have them make an informed decision. If not, move on to the next one. And I can pick up the phone, sell somebody a policy in 30 to 40 minutes, boom, move on to the next.
Got it.
Yeah.
So initial phone call, leads, and how fast you get paid is pretty much what got you to go, hey,
transaction period. Yeah, and I think, too, just the ability to build a team. Yeah. Because you don't really have that in real estate. And so when I looked at, like, the 2 vehicles, I was like, okay, what is my exit strategy in real estate? Like, I could keep going and cool, I could build a big pipeline, but, like, what's my exit strategy? How will I retire? And here it's like, there's 2 main ways to make money. I could get really good at sales and, like, increase my personal production and get, 6 figures fast. Right. But then you could build passive income by building an agency. And the thing is, it's like everybody wins in that department. Right. You could educate the client, or the client gets the best product, and we have all the best products possible. You could help the new agent who is also struggling, maybe living at their parents' house, and then boom, help them make money, and then you as a byproduct make money, and then by that you build, like, a huge agency and make passive income from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You talked about helping warm market early on.
Yeah.
So before FFL, when Sean was building his agency at another company, we kind of had this rule for new agents when we brought them in. We would challenge them. Like, we'd be in it because we'd interview. Like, you're building a team. It's not, hey, everybody come join, throw a bunch of shit against the wall, see what sticks. You're interviewing, qualifying, selecting individuals for your team. So we would tell them, hey, Desiree, before I give you leads, you're going to need to sell some warm market policies. Yeah. Because if you don't know at least 3 or 4 people around you that trust you enough to protect their families, how am I going to give you leads and trust you to protect those families?
Right.
It's a trust thing.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
So you sold over, 7 or something your first. Now, were you challenged to do that? Did you do that on your own?
I mean, I knew I had to make a way, and then it also challenged me. And I think, again, just it's such an important product, and I'm so glad when I sat there because I learned the most by educating my family.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad doesn't have any life insurance? Like, what the hell? We need to get him a policy. And so I honestly think when a brand new agent comes in, even if you have money for leads, start with your family.
Right.
Like, and at the end of the day, too, because I came from real estate where I was that weird cousin at Thanksgiving that was like, hey, Mike, let me know, man. And you're like, dude, I'm not ready to buy a home. Okay, cool. Next time, right? And so I didn't even want to talk to my family.
Yeah.
But then when I learned more about the product, I was like, it would honestly haunt me if something happened to one of my family members and I didn't tell them I was an agent.
Yeah.
Like I could sleep well at night if I talked to you about it and you said, I'm good. Cool. Let me cross you off the list there. But if I just was like too hesitant to even bring it up, what the hell are we doing? Yeah. Right. And so I just knew, and that's how I made that decision. I was like, I'm going to go talk to my family members after I educated myself a couple times. And I was like, the worst they could say is no. And I could sleep better at night because if they die and I didn't tell them like what I do for work, that's on me. And I don't think I would be able to live with myself. So I would challenge the person who's scared to talk to their family. Like if something happened to them next week, car accident happened, and you didn't tell them, you could have got them a policy.
Right.
How would you feel? Yeah. Now you're donating to their GoFundMe. So that helps me have that hard conversation. It's not even a hard conversation. Just let them make an informed decision. It's not sales.
Absolutely.
I don't know why people are like, oh, salesman. I'm like, dude, we're selling ourselves every single day. Like right now, you're driving in an Uber, same thing. You're every single day. You're kind of emulating who you are. That's a form of sales. So
yeah, and if you don't believe in the product, you're not going to be able to sell, especially not at a high level. Yeah. There's people that are going to buy because it's life insurance. Yeah. But you're not going to be able to really, really sell at the level you need to if you don't actually believe in the product. Yeah.
I don't hire anyone that doesn't believe in the product. I say, hey, all the agents that we work with, they believe in the life insurance product because it's absolutely important. And I don't want you to be like commission hungry, but when you don't even have a policy on yourself. So yeah, that's huge.
What was the biggest thing you learned from that experience, meeting with your family, selling them on a product, selling life insurance?
I think partly I was starting to believe more about this career switch just because, and I was talking about this earlier, it's like we're in an industry that truly helps the client and truly helps me and the agents that are involved. Right. So it helped open my eyes that we're not like just making a random sale. I'm not going to sell you on this energy drink, right? It's like you absolutely need this, and I'm so passionate about educating the rest of the world. Like I think the statistic is 50% of Americans are underinsured or they have zero life insurance. Right. But everybody has a car insurance policy, but you're not guaranteed to get into an accident, right? You might have insurance on your cell phone. Is the screen going to crack? But you can't get a $50 policy on yourself. Like people are spending more on pizza wings and random stuff, and you can't afford, like you spend more on Starbucks, but you can't get yourself a policy, just at least, because we're all going to die at some point. Right. So it really challenged me to look at this from a non-sales perspective and more of an educational standpoint. Yeah. Which then helps you when you're meeting with your clients because it's, it's sales, but it's not. It's really not. It's really not because they've initiated contact with us. Yeah. And then it forces you to challenge them too, because I'm like, hey man, you have a family, but you're telling me you can't get a life insurance policy to protect your family. And it allows you to pose that question, and it helps you ask challenging questions just so you could leave it all on the table. Yeah. Absolutely. So from there, you started buying leads, right? What was that transition like, meeting with clients? Like you said, in real estate, 7 months to sell your first house, right? How long did it take you to close your first lead-based appointment? Yeah, it was not hard, or not long compared to real estate. It was, I think for me, the biggest transition was like dialing to book an appointment to experience no-shows to then meet with a client. Were you meeting in person or virtual? In person, yeah. Okay. I was doing face-to-face. And so I think my first client, it was at a Starbucks, which I'm actually glad he was there because now in retrospect, I'm like, every time I met with somebody at a Starbucks, they weren't there. Right. But sat with him. He was just really concerned about making sure the moment he passes, his son would have something to cremate him, and sat with him, and I fumbled through like the Aetna app, and I was like, man, this is my first time going through this app, and then like helped him, and he was very grateful, and like that was within maybe a week or two. Okay. Yeah, a week or two of me, like I was inconsistent, man. I was coming in, I would make some dials, I would book some appointments, and I would go back to real estate, and so my first year was really. So you were half in, half out. I was very much half in. I didn't know what the big picture was. Okay. And it wasn't until my first convention that I was like, this is serious. This is crazy. Like, I could actually plant my flag here and build a business here.
How long were you with us before that first convention?
A couple months.
Okay.
And I probably was going to quit.
Really?
I honestly I probably was going to quit. In my head, I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, because it was me. I was the inconsistent one. It wasn't the business. It was me, because I didn't have that expectation set up of like, hey, you're going to need more leads. You're going to have to do more dials to book.
Oh, were you one of those? I made my lead purchase. I'm good. I don't need any more.
I don't know. I just didn't have like the formula. Now, when new people come in, I'm like, Mike, it's just one big math equation.
Right.
And all of it's based off your work ethic, right? Your actions that you're taking to get to that sale. It's nothing else. Like, we're all gonna suck. Like, I still say, I'm like, I do suck. I just buy more leads.
Right.
Like, and that's something that I can control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why didn't you quit?
Wow, that's a good question. I think for me, I was just getting those small little wins. And then, like I said, my first event, like 3 months in, I went to the Miami convention in 2022 and completely changed the game for me. I was hearing stuff on stage that I was like, okay, I went through that and I just have to keep going. And like the common theme was that like regular people, all people from different walks of life were on stage. And I was like, dude, if that guy could do it, why can't I do it?
Right.
And then I was just so, again, apt to learn. I was like, okay, I'm going to write this down. I'm going to go implement what I just learned at convention and put it back into my business. And that honestly helped it like jumpstart from there.
Yeah. What made you go to convention?
I almost didn't. It was the people I was working with. They're like, if you're serious about this, you need to go. And that's why I harp on every single new person to go, because of how life-changing it was for me.
Right.
But yeah, the people around me were like, you got to go. I'm like, that's all the way in Miami, because I'm from Washington State. I was like, dude, that's like a 600, like that's like an $800 flight and like 6-7 hours of traveling time. I don't even know if I want to do it, but thank God I did, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't go to my first convention, I think.
What was it about that event that sold you or kept you here?
It was my first time being around like a big group of people with high energy and like high intention to be better than where they were. Yeah. And just
Did you attend conventions in real estate or no?
No. And that's probably why it was like I was like, holy crap, the energy here is crazy. The stories that they're telling on stage, I was like, these are just average, ordinary people. Like, there's no reason why I can't kill it here too. And it brought it to life, like what I would be capable of. And that's kind of what I learned in the first event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what changed coming out of that event?
Everything. I think my mindset completely transformed. It was like, hey, the only way that you'll lose here is if you quit. So I was like, I'm not going to quit. Yeah. I'm not going to quit. And I heard Dave Anderson speak for the first time too. And that was life-changing for me. I wrote a couple things down that completely just changed my mindset. And ever since then, I was committed to just listening to something to build my mindset. It's just like a muscle. And and when you like put it like that, and you come, like if a new person comes in and they're like negative, I wouldn't hire someone negative, but I'm like, hey, I started off that way too. But if you're willing to like work on that, it's game over. Because this business is like 95% mindset, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And it's like 5% work. So if you like really work that, you're unstoppable.
What was it about Dave's talk or Dave in general that you liked so much?
Oh, man, he said something, and it still sticks with me to this day. He was describing a college athlete he was working with, a basketball collegiate athlete, and he said he does like those house checks, and he's like, hey, he asked the guy, did you make your bed this morning? He's on the phone with him. Hey, did you make your bed this morning? And the guy's like, no, I didn't. And he was like, okay, if I came over, if you knew I was coming over, would you have made your bed? And he said, yeah, of course I would have. And he was like, why are you willing to do things for other people rather than for yourself? And that's when I knew I wasn't really holding myself to a specific standard. Yeah. And so it just completely just changed. Like, I have to treat myself better. I have to put myself first in that regard. And it all starts with like how you hold yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So were you kind of in that same space of like,
I think
if somebody else asked, but if
I had a lot of limiting beliefs. I just didn't, I kind of believed in myself, but I wasn't like fully committed. But the more events and the more people I'm around here with Family First Life in this industry, that's when I was like, dude, it's game over. It's like, it's me versus me every single day. Right. And so, that was like one of the resounding things that are still with me to this day.
Got it. What was the biggest thing you struggled with selling with us? Was it just the inconsistency? It
was more my discipline. Like my first year, I always tell new people coming in, I was like, hey, I made money my first year, but it was a shit show. Like it was me like making money, and then I was making money in real estate too. And so that's why I was like, I'm gonna take some days off here with insurance. And I was just an inconsistent business owner. Yeah. And I didn't realize that it was just one big formula. Like, I need to get this much in leads every single week. I need to book this many appointments. And how to do that is I have to do this many dials. And I just wasn't consistent with my schedule. So I would say lack of discipline. It wasn't anything else, because the thing is, we don't need talent to be here, like to do really well here. It's just a skill set. And so when you understand, like, I just have to put enough reps to master that skill set, it's game over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were at this past event, right? How was that?
It was wonderful. It was crazy. It was my first time speaking on stage.
Really?
So again, super surreal.
How was that? Were you nervous?
I was a little nervous, but I prepared.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing too. As long as you tell people, hey, like, if you prepare, you're fine. Like, if you, before you read the script, did you prepare to read it? Before you went into a client's home or talked to a client and did a presentation, did you prepare for it?
Right.
And preparation will lead to your execution doing, you know.
And if you're really putting in the work, it should not be difficult to get on here on a podcast, on a stage, to talk about what you're doing. It's not like we're quizzing you about shit you don't do.
No.
It's, hey, tell everybody what you do in the home.
Right.
Tell everybody why you've been successful. Tell everybody whatever, how you close, how you, but it's what you eat, breathe, live every day in and day out.
Every day.
So as long as you're doing that, this stuff should come natural.
It's not even rocket science. You're probably, you interview a lot of people, so you're like, okay, she's saying the same. It's all the same stuff, right? Success leaves clues. It's literally, it boils down to the same stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
What's funny is I haven't been in the field in like over 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I hear you guys talk, and it was different in our day, paper apps, all that good stuff. But the overall concepts, the overall message, the overall, I don't even want to call them sales tactics, but what you guys do has not changed.
No.
How you do it has.
Yeah.
But the emotion of the sale,
the process,
that is all still the same.
Yeah.
Same concepts.
Right.
Did you have to change how you dealt with people? Because real estate is a transactional sale, right? It's like buying a car.
Yeah.
Odds are you drove here in a car. You probably have other cars. If you don't buy this car from my lot today, your life is not going to be much. It's just like the house, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a nicer house. Maybe it's your first house. Maybe it's an investment. But if that guy who looked at 20 houses doesn't buy that house, his life's not dramatically impacted.
Right.
If I don't buy the life insurance policy when you come out, when you call me, odds of me meeting with somebody else about this, slim to none. It doesn't happen usually because they've seen it. They're good, right? You didn't do your job. So it's a bigger deal. It's not transactional. It's impactful.
Right.
If I don't buy that policy and I die, my family's screwed.
Exactly.
It's not the same with a house or a car, right?
No, you're more friendly, like relationship, like, hey, how's it going? Like, how's the kids or whatever. And you're like building a friendship there that you don't even know if you're going to get a transaction out of it or like a result out of it in real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And same thing with like probably cars. Like you're like, hey, how's it going, man? Like buy this car for me. Here, I love the life insurance industry because I kind of treat it more like doctor-patient mentality.
Correct.
Because they can't just buy it. And so it's like a takeaway close. I'm like, you might be like, I want this, this, and this. Hey, Mike, hold up. Like, we have to see if we get you approved. Have you done the life insurance process before?
Right.
No. And then so it honestly positioned me to hold myself like as the financial professional, which we are, and talk to them in a manner of like your tonality is like doctor-patient mentality. Hey, like any heart attack, strokes, cancer, anything like that. And you're not like, hey, have you had anything crazy like happen in the last like 10 years? It's like, how are you, talking to the client? And so it's more, standing, like being a financial professional rather than like, hey, let me be friends with you and then I'll sell your home. Yeah. So that was like the biggest shift for me. I was like, I freaking love this over here because like if they don't want it after I've done a really good job, cool. Right. Because then like at the end of the day, they're still going to need it. And you practice kind of that transaction and that dialogue that you have with them.
You feel like you can be yourself more
Yes.
here?
Yes. 100%.
It's like real estate, car, like you have to almost be someone you're not at times.
Yeah. Because like for that guy, for example, if I showed him 20 homes and he's like, yeah, I'm just going to wait. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, you have my number versus like, dude, what the hell? Like I just showed you all these homes. What's going on? And I could tell that to the client. Like if you say, hey, I need to think about it, I could be like, Mike, what exactly do you need to think about, man? Because you had the diabetes a couple years ago. You have no insurance at all. You die next week. What is that going to look like for your wife and your kids? Right. And you could challenge the client that way. And I love that because it's just being transparent.
Yep. So you guys keep calling me. You keep filling these out.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, you know how you get to stop calling? Stop filling out forms. Exactly. Stop going online.
I've said that a number of times. Or if you call people and they hang up on you, I call you back 6-7 times. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to sell you anything. You filled out a form requesting information about the IUL. You put your date of birth as this. Is that correct? And my tone and my demeanor changes. And they're like, oh, wait. This is not like a normal telemarketer because you get calls from people. You probably hang up on them. They're like, hey, don't call me back, right? And they don't call you back. So how am I going to separate myself from the normal telemarketer selling the random thing? I'm not selling anything random. I'm not even trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to see if we could put you in the best position possible.
Are you doing telesales now?
Yep. Telesales. Yep.
And IULs.
Yep.
When did you make that shift?
Recently, the beginning of this year, end of last year, like December. Okay. Everyone, obviously, the whole wave of like switch to IUL, switch to IULs. And I'm like,
you're kind of a late adapter.
Yeah.
What happened?
Like switching to IULs. Yeah. I think just with anything, like I was doing mortgage, it was working, and I was like, okay, I was comfortable. Yeah. And I was just like, the whole one of my core values is like growth and learning, and so I was like, dude, I got to make the jump. Everyone's doing it, or I'm gonna get left behind.
Yeah. Got it. How was that transition?
It was a little tough at first just because I was used to, my mortgage process. But at the end of the day, when I looked at it side by side, it's the same thing. You just switch words. You just switch some words. Yep. And you see if we could help you with the IUL. The IUL is like a little bit harder to qualify for than like whole life and stuff. So, yeah.
And when did you go from in-person to telesales?
Oh man, I was a late bloomer too. I think I was like, I'm not going to try and fix something that's not broken. But I think it was 2024, beginning of 2024. So like I did a full year of like, I came in doing final expense in home, then I switched to mortgage telesales, and that was like a double switch for me.
Oh, so you switched to mortgage and telesales. You were only doing final expenses.
Yes, my first like year and a half in, I think, and I was just like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna change that.
How was it? An easy transition?
No,
Did you struggle?
I think my sales dipped a little bit because it's just a learning curve. But I knew like, hey, if I just keep doing it and I could put in the reps and I get the leads, it's going to be fine.
And then now you're back to where you were selling before.
Yes, exactly.
What was the biggest change you had to make to get that back to where it needed to be?
Like with right now, with what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was just like having the client interaction. So like I think having those presentations where I could tweak some things to see the full thing play out was it. I just needed more talks and presentations.
Oh, was it harder to get in front of clients at first?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just because I was like so used to a different presentation.
Right.
Yeah. But after, and that's what I tell new people too. It's like, hey, I know when you look at the lead for the first time, it seems scary, but the thing is, the only thing that's going to get you better is like talking to the client and playing out that process. Yeah. Then you could fix what needs to be fixed. And so I needed to do that faster rather than dragging my feet. Like, oh, I got a mortgage lead. I'm like, but I'm transitioning to IULs. Like, let's just do that.
It's like that with anything in life. Like you just do it.
Yes.
Like, yes, hey, podcasts, great we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Watch them, learn them, but go out and run the appointment first. Do that first.
Yeah.
Like, once you do that, then the stuff we're talking about here is going to resonate differently.
Right.
You don't even know what you're listening to until you've actually ran a couple appointments.
Right. You got to take massive action. And that's the fastest thing. That's how you're going to learn is by taking action. And that's like another like famous Tony Robbins quote. He's like, hey, people always say, hey, knowledge is power, knowledge is power. No, knowledge is potential power, but power lies within execution. Because you could take hundreds and hours of podcasts, but if you're not actively doing it, you're not going to learn. Right? Like you could watch all the videos about riding a bike, but until you fall down several times and get back on it, it's not the same thing.
Or like you spoke on stage for the first time.
That was,
you can read books about it, you can watch videos. Sean can tell you how to talk on stage, but until you get up there, you bring that microphone and start speaking. You're shaking, and then all of a sudden you realize like, wow, it's not really that bad.
No.
Can't even really see anyone because the light's just so damn bright. I can see like two people. Who care? I'll focus on those two. They're nodding. Like it's just like anything. Once you do it, you learn a lot more from that, first shot, first chance versus sitting back and, trying to get everything in order.
Right.
It's like, you get agents. You do a lot of recruiting where they want to know everything about every product before they make a call, Desiree. Well, just make the call.
Just do it, man.
Just do it.
Yeah. And I've learned that the hard way too, because I would be like, okay, cool. You spend so much time on this person. Yeah. They quit after like a week because they couldn't handle getting hung up on. I'm like, okay, that's it. Like, just jump in there and start making these calls. Like who, and Sean actually says this a lot. He was like, the real interview is your first 2 weeks. It's not what you said on the interview. It's like, what can you do in the first, can your actions follow what you just said? Like, how did you just sell me on that interview? Can you actually follow through with your action?
Last year, you were just under 300,000 personally. That was your best year with us, right? What is your goal this year?
Hall of Fame for
Hall
sure.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
no
important
doubt.
too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Why?
Just because, obviously it's a staple, like getting that red jacket and holding that standard of your personal production so that way your agents could follow because, you want to lead by example. And there's no way that I'm not getting it. But, so, just hitting that benchmark.
Got it. And this is through March, through 2 weeks in March, you're at about 70,000 year to date.
Yeah.
So it's very possible.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
All right. Well, you said it here, so now you have to hit it.
Yes. Everyone hold me to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If I'm not at that Hall of Fame dinner, you call me up.
Absolutely. I always, Not always, but on most of these podcasts like to talk about the why, because just like in the insurance sale, the why is the biggest thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did this individual fill this form out? Once you figured out that answer, as long as you fit their needs, their budget, you're good.
Right.
But I also believe that you're not going to hit Hall of Fame unless you have a big why.
Right.
You're not going to build a big team unless you have a big why. What is your why right now?
Yeah, I think biggest thing is I truly believe that we're not here to just be average or mediocre. And I love God, and he brought me through a lot of like hard things, and I know I'm here for like a bigger potential, and I really just want to step into my potential and every day get better.
Yeah.
And at the end of my life, I don't want him to be like, hey, you were supposed to do this, but you just kind of like skated on by. So number one, just always being better than I was before.
Yeah.
Number two, I have a large family that I love and I care about. And I mean, we're not wealthy or anything, so I want to be that one.
Yeah.
And in the event, it kind of freaks me out if like something ever happened to my parents, and like they couldn't financially afford it, just being there,
Right.
you know, being that beacon, and potentially like retiring my dad down the road too is
Yeah.
nice. So those big things, like, but the number one thing is just like, I always want to just do better than what I was doing before. Like I want to step into that potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. We like to do a little fun segment here called True or False. Okay. So I'm
Okay.
going to throw some, and I didn't write these, so if you don't like them, don't
okay.
get mad at me. And you're just going to let me know if they're true or false in your opinion. Okay. Are you ready?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. You must be an extrovert to succeed in sales.
False.
Commission-based sales is unreliable and unstable.
False.
Social media is an essential tool for growing a modern insurance business.
I would say true. Yeah, true. In today's society. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys grew organically through word of mouth. Yeah.
We were all on social.
Oh, you were?
Oh,
Okay, back then.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. You should only sell life insurance to people you know personally.
No, false.
A 50% commission level is competitive for long-term
False.
growth.
Don't even.
No. All successful agents had a fast start in the business.
False.
You have to have years of experience before building an agency.
False.
You will earn more stable commissions in real estate compared to
False. Yeah.
False. Yes. And not that we're knocking real estate, but
Yeah.
like, I mean, if someone's out there right now in your position back when you got accepted to nursing school, right? And they realize, you know what, I don't want to go that route. I want to get into sales. They're looking at insurance. They're looking at real estate.
Yeah.
You've been in both.
Yeah.
What should they weigh?
And I'm good at both,
You're
too.
good at both.
And I look back, and I actually say this to a lot of people. If I could go back in time,
Yeah.
and if I was faced between, and I had to pick between my insurance and my real estate license, I would pick insurance all day.
Really?
It's cheaper to get licensed. We actually help you with the freaking coursework, guys.
Correct.
And it's significantly more impactful, in my opinion, because I've done both. It's nice to help somebody get their first home. It's really
Sure.
great. But, like, the fact that you could be there for somebody during the worst moment of their life and, like, walk them through that death claim process, like, it's life-changing.
Right.
But yeah, insurance is just such a better product. You could get paid faster. But yeah, if I could go back in time, insurance all day.
Yeah.
All day. Yeah.
What did it cost you to get licensed in real estate?
Oh, it was a lot. And I failed, and it was a harder test too. I think I failed like twice in real estate. I barely studied for the life insurance one, and I think I passed.
Yeah,
and I was
it's
like, oh,
pretty easy.
yeah. It was like maybe $700 to get the coursework in real estate.
Yeah.
And then the test itself was like $150. And this was back in 2019, so it's
Got it.
probably a lot more
Okay,
expensive.
somewhere around $1,000.
Yes,
probably.
exactly. But kind of a longer testing process. But yeah, and another thing too, like statistically in 2024, we just heard the statistic. It's like 71% of real estate agents didn't sell a home. So last year, it was something crazy, staggering statistics.
So over 70% of licensed real estate
Yes.
agents did not sell.
It might even be 80. Yeah, but yeah, something
Wow.
like you have this license and
Yeah.
you didn't even use it. Like, come here, right?
Right.
You could, like, through your walk of life, you're gonna be able to help somebody get a $50, $60, $70 policy
Sure.
and actually impact their family that way too.
Yeah. That's the key. That's the huge part that also I think separates people that should be in this business and shouldn't, right? You have to actually care about people.
Yeah.
You can't fake that.
No.
And some of you might not even know that you have that care for people until you start doing this, right?
Right.
Like I was in construction. I mean, not that I didn't care, but once I started doing this and realizing the impact, and then for me, it was that first death claim.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you've had some.
Yes.
Right. Is there one that stands out, more impactful? Was it the first one?
Yeah, my very first one, it was actually Christmas Eve. I'm not even making up the story, guys.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, I get a call from my client, and I was like, okay, why is Dorothy calling me? Why is Dottie
Right.
calling me? And so I answer. She's crying. She was like, he passed. No one's answering my calls. You're the only one. I know we got a policy with you. And it was so nice to just comfort her, at least letting her know, hey, financially, like I'll walk you through the death claim process. Don't even worry about the paperwork. I'll call them. Just have your phone on you. You don't have to fiddle through anything. Just go be with your family. But she told me her husband was in the hospital for a long time and passed on Christmas Eve, and nobody was picking up her call as far as like, the funeral home or what was going to happen. And so it was just nice to guide her through that and to at least be that comforting voice. Obviously, I can't take away her emotions and stuff, but financially, she was going to be fine.
Right. It's one part of it that she doesn't have to worry about. And that's really what we do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We can't prevent death, right? We can't change it, but we can make sure that the financial piece is not a concern during that process of grieving.
Right.
You remember the appointment?
Yes.
Yeah.
In home. I remember that the guy who passed was sitting in his recliner chair, rocking back and forth. I was speaking to his wife mostly, and I was like, hey, cool, sign here. Yeah. Awesome, you're good with that? Great. And then he passed away shortly after. And again, just hearing her voice over the phone and knowing that I could at least help her in that part was like, this is crazy. This is why we're doing this. Yeah. And as a byproduct, we get paid a lucrative amount of money. Like they say, financial services creates the most millionaires in America. And here we are, right? Yeah. Cool. Real estate, it's going to take you some time to do that in real estate. Like come here and like make an impact on the person that you're helping, like servicing the client, and then also the people that you bring on. Yeah.
Do you remember what your best year income-wise was in real estate?
Maybe 70 grand.
Okay. What's been your best year with us so far?
250.
250.
Yeah.
That's gross, right? Or is that net?
I want to say I net over 200.
Over 200. Yeah. Wow. So 250, you net over 200. So let's say 40 to 50K in expenses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not a bad deal. How are the expenses in real estate?
Honestly, I mean, I was still like kind of a novice. I didn't really believe in like investing in my business. I didn't look at it.
So for you, there weren't a lot.
Not many, no. Yeah. And yeah. Exactly.
But in order to gross 250 in real estate,
who knows what you would have to do? They would. I have no idea. I kind of like when I went full on here, I kind of like took a step back with real estate. Like I still have my license and stuff, and people ask me questions, and I just refer them out. But this is where like this is my plan A. I don't have a plan B.
Yeah, well, I think that says it all right there. People are reaching out to you, and you're referring those clients to somebody else that could potentially be a sale.
Exactly.
So you have time to meet with clients selling life insurance. That's awesome. Last thing. So there's people on the fence right now about the event. Now we're little less than a year out, right? But it happens quick. Like we're already planning it. What would you say to an agent right now that's kind of on the fence that, I don't know if I need to go to convention. I don't know. I hear all this because you hear all the stories, how great it was. And I don't think I've had a person sit in that seat that has been successful with us that hasn't been to a convention, right? But what would you say to some of those agents that are on the fence?
I would say, hey, I hear you because I was one of those people. And I would not be sitting here if I didn't go. Because the thing is, you're in your head and you only see your proof of concept.
Right.
You can't see the bank account yet. Maybe you haven't sold your first policy, or maybe you haven't sold more than 20 grand in a month. And so you haven't believed it yourself. But when you get into an environment where other people with the same freaking license as you are making like some of them are making 6 figures a month, right? And then there's people making, 7 figures a year with the same license as you that had the same starting line as you. When you get there and you start to see just how ordinary people are, like I'm not anything special either. Like we all put on our pants on the same way, but it's like the moment you see that, it's going to completely transform like whatever you think you could do here.
Yeah.
I promise you, it will just completely change your life. Not even financially, like just things that I've learned about mindset. Right. And I'm a completely different person from my first convention. Every convention or every event that I go to, physically getting around other people to kind of lift you up. Yeah. And again, to instill belief in you, and then also just seeing real results will help you get there too.
Right. We had Steve Giordano here like a week ago.
Yeah.
And
he's an animal, yeah.
He is, but you would think he doesn't need to go to right? He's number one. Why?
Exactly.
He gets on probably more training than just about anyone.
Right.
He has not missed an event since he's been here. And he's like, dude, I pick up something every single time.
Every time.
It may not be, like, he's not going to listen to one person's talk, and that one talk is going to change everything he does. But he's like, I hear this person talk, I pick up a little something there. I hear what she's doing. Oh, I'm going to try that. And that's the beauty about these events. And the only way to get that is by getting there.
Right. And like the three things you really need here, and I've heard this from, honestly, half the things I'm saying I probably ripped and duplicate from other trainings. That's the whole purpose of going. Right. But it's like you just need like a bulletproof work ethic, right? A bulletproof, consistent work ethic.
Yes.
Being the hardest worker in the room. Number two, having a positive attitude, because when you're in sales, you're going to deal with rejection. Like you're going to get told no more than yes. So you have to understand that and expect that. And so having a positive attitude no matter what, no complaining, like that's not going to get you anywhere in life. And the third thing is just being coachable and teachable and hungry to learn and adapt. Those are the three things you need to be successful here. I didn't say charisma. I didn't say talent. I didn't say good looks. Right. I didn't say, hey, you have to be super young or whatever the case may be. It's just like if you have those three things and you freaking believe in yourself, you will succeed here.
Yeah.
That's all you need. And another thing too is just like when you're in an environment where you want to learn, and then also just like striving for that positive attitude is going to help as well too.
Yeah. Well, if you're sold, you can go to fflconvention.com, get registered now. We have premier seating, $299. This will get you access to the entire event, exclusive seating. We give out tons of leads. We got like $500,000 in leads last event. So if you're in premier seating, you'll have access to that. VIPs, $999, same deal, but you're sitting up front. You also get to pick some keynotes to have a meet and greet with, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. And then general admissions, $99 for 3 days of amazing training. And
it's crazy because you just said like getting in was what, $99?
$99.
But you will make so much more money just going to the event. You'll 10x like your income that year. Also, this past convention, my team got like 10 to 15,000 in leads.
Yeah.
So you're like, you need to get there, guys. It's like a no-brainer thing. And it's also just going to elevate your business from there. I promise you'll make your money back and more.
Absolutely. Last thing, you talked about mindset. That's very important.
Very.
Right? Because this business is it is a roller coaster, right? What do you do to maintain a positive mindset? Is personal development, like
every day.
Like what? Reading,
listening to a podcast every day. It doesn't have to be like specifically when I was new. I was always listening to different trainings, like to this product, or just like you want to be a master of your craft. If I'm in the life insurance industry, I need to know everything about life insurance. But listening to something positive every day, I don't care if it's like 15 to 20 minutes. I listen to a podcast every single day just because naturally we are negative. Like human nature, we're negative.
Absolutely.
Like if you think you're a negative person, you're right. Like everybody's negative. So I just have to be proactive and get ahead of it, right? 60,000, we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts we just experienced yesterday. Right. So I know that. And then so to get ahead, I have to get ahead of that, right? And then 80% of those thoughts are going to be negative because we're just naturally wired to be negative. So I'm just going to listen to something positive or get around positive people or other people who are going to lift me up. And that's how I get ahead of it.
Yeah, love it. Well, I appreciate you coming up doing this.
Thank you for having me. This is really surreal. And like I said before when I got here, I was listening to these podcasts like driving in home, almost quitting. And it was podcasts like these that pushed me through. So everybody that's listening, keep doing what you're doing. And remember, don't give up. The only way that you'll fail is if you quit. Right. So just literally just keep going.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's the thing. We do this for the age. Like, trust me, we're not making millions of dollars on YouTube putting out videos. Like we do this for the agents. Yeah. And hopefully more people feel the way that you do about the training. So appreciate you coming up. Guys, thanks for checking us out. Go to fflconvention.com. Get registered now. We will sell out this year. Yeah. Definitely. And pretty soon I'll have some keynote speakers to be able to announce. The ink's not dry yet, let's put it that way. But you guys know where to find us every week right here on True Talk. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with all of your agents, and we'll see you next week.